Hi everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss about receipt and remittance accounting. Before we jump into this topic, let us recap the fundamentals. When customer purchases an item from a company, the company will issue a AR invoice to the customer, and when customer makes payment for the purchase that he has done, a receipt will be created in the Oracle system, AR receipt. In this session, we are going to discuss what are all possible scenarios in the AR receipt and how the accounting will be in each possible scenario, and from where these accounts are getting derived. What is the underlying setup from which the accounts will get derived in each scenario? We'll look into that. So here in column D of this topic, I have listed down all the possible scenarios that we are going to discuss and the accounting entries in each scenario. And in the column C, I have listed out the navigations for doing the activities in the instance for each scenario and from where the setups for the accounts are defined. So let us get into the scenarios. So when we receive a cash from the customer, we create a receipt, right? So the first possible scenario is sometimes organizations don't know who is the customer from which we received that cash. You might be wondering how that can happen, right? Let's take a scenario. We go to Walmart and buy some item, and we swipe our card, and we don't have account in Walmart. In that case, they don't know what is our details. They will just have our card number, but not our name and those details, right? That is one possible scenario where Walmart receives your money from the customer, but they don't know who is the customer name, right? In such scenario, those kind of receipts are called as unidentified receipt. Here, customer details are not available. If we create a receipt, let's move on to the next scenario, that is unapplied. First one is unidentified receipt, and the next one is unapplied receipt. In this scenario, a receipt is created in the system. They know the customer, but that receipt is not applied to any AR invoice. That is the scenario. And the third scenario is a receipt is created, customer details are available on the receipt, but that is not applied to any invoice, but it is created as an on account. You can consider it as a prepayment from the customer, where there is in customer didn't receive an invoice, he didn't buy anything from the company, but he made a payment to the company has an advance, so that which can be applied to an invoice at later point when he buys some items from the company. So such kind of scenario, that kind of receipt is called on account receipt. And last scenario is where a receipt is created, customer details are available on the receipt, and that receipt is applied to an AR invoice which was issued to the customer earlier. That is a fourth scenario. So here I have listed down the accounts that will be affected in each scenario. Now we'll go to the system, we will execute these, we'll take one receipt and we'll go step by step with all these scenarios, and we will verify what are the accounts are getting impacted, and those similar navigations I have given here, and from where those accounts are coming, we will check later once we execute these four steps, four scenarios, and we will cross validate whether the accounts that are coming here are matching with the setup. So now let's jump into the instance and we'll start creating a receipt for a customer, and we will verify each scenario. I'm navigating to the instance. I'm in receivables application. Click on accounts receivables. Click on task list. Click on create receipt. Business unit is UAE PSBU. I'm taking this business unit. Receipt method, it's check, direct, no remittance. Receipt number, I'm giving some random number. Entered amount is $1,000. Remittance bank account, it got defaulted based on the receipt method that we give. And I'm not giving the customer details. Customer details, if you see, they are not mandatory. We can save this receipt for $1,000 where we don't know from which customer this payment has come from. This receipt will be called as unidentified receipt. We can click on submit. Receipt 3007 has been created. Let us query for the receipt. Click on manage receipts. Give the receipt number. Search. Click on the receipt number. If we see customer details are null, they are not available. This scenario is unidentified receipt, which is the first scenario that we discussed. Let us create the account in draft mode. Account in draft. Click on view accounting. Yeah, let me expand this. If you see, it has debited the cash account and credited the unidentified cash. As we don't know the customer, it has credited the unidentified cash. So this is the first scenario we discussed. It will debit the cash account and credit the unidentified cash. And I have added one point here, which I'll not discuss now. We'll come back to the later point. Now let's jump to the second scenario, unapplied receipt. For the receipt that we have created now, if we give an customer details, then this is no longer an unidentified receipt because we are giving the customer details, right? I am associating this receipt to the customer and save. Now let us do the accounting in draft. Click on view accounting. Now if you see in the earlier scenario, cash was debited, unidentified cash was credited. Now unidentified cash is debited. So these two are knocking off each other. And unapplied, this receipt is not applied to any invoice. So now it has credited the unapplied cash account. So the net accounting now will be debit cash and credit unapplied. And these two will knock off each other. So now we have covered the second scenario, right? Where if you see it debited the unidentified cash and credited the unapplied cash. Now we'll move on to the on account receipt. For the same receipt, we now have the customer details. Now if we pay it as an advance to the organization where he didn't buy anything yet, but he's paying some money to the company as an advance so that when he buys items from the company later, this receipt amount can be applied over there. In that scenario, we call it as on account receipt. Now let us go to add application. Click on add application. In actions, click on more. Here click on create on account application. You can give today's date. I think we have to delete this. Click on actions, more, create on account application. Now, yeah, for $1,000 we'll say okay, right? If you see, application type is on account and 1,000 is applied amount. It is not applied to any year invoice. It is like we can treat it as advance from the customer. Now save it and now click on account in draft. View accounting. Now if you see, this is the thing. Now unapplied cash has become zero. Earlier it was $1,000. Now it has become zero, and cash on account has become 1,000. This is a new entry. The previous entry of unapplied cash has reduced from 1,000 to zero. Now we covered the third scenario, on account receipt, and now we will cover the applied receipt. The same receipt that we are discussing, if we associate it with a AR invoice, that is the scenario where this receipt becomes applied receipt, as this is getting applied to an AR invoice. Click on done. So before we do that, because now this is an on account, right? We have to unapply this on account, and now we will apply it to a receipt. Sorry, AR invoice. I have created AR invoice before. In the interest of time, I will use that same AR invoice number. It was created for $367. So total amount is applied. There is no due amount. I'm clicking on save. Now I'll click on accounting in draft. Now click on view accounting. Now as we have applied the receipt for the invoice, the receivable account has credited 367 and unapplied cash is 632. And now we can even do this unapplied cash as on account, and we can make that even as zero. Let us do that. More, create on account application. The balance amount is 632. We can say okay. Save. Accounting in draft. View accounting. If you see, unapplied cash is zero. Receivables is 367. This is what the invoice amount is. And on account cash is 632, right? And cash, as there is a debit in cash, and these two entries will knock off each other. So the net is, there is a debit in cash, there is a credit in account receivables, and cash on account. These two entries, unidentified cash, they knock off each other. That is what we are trying to say in the net change point here. The net change will be cash account will be debited, it's not credited. I'm not discussing about remit to cash, I'll come back here, and receivables will be credited. This will be the net change. So now the question comes from where these accounts are coming from. This navigation anyway we have seen as we executed now, and this point from where these accounts are coming, they are coming from receipt class that we have used, receipt class or receipt and receipt method that we have used in the receipt. For that receipt method, there will be a remittance bank account associated, and in that for that remittance bank account, all these accounts are defined. If you see here, I'll take a snapshot of this accounting and we will validate them with the setups that we are going to see now. Let me copy this. I'll put in a WordPad. If you see here, receipt method, we are using check directly, no remit. And this from here, this is the setup where all inside like associated to this setup, all the accounts will be defined there. And from there, those accounts are coming up. We will see that. And even from based on this, right, for the business unit, even the remittance account also comes. Earlier when we're creating, it has shown up the account as well. Let us show more. Yeah, customer and remittance bank. If you see here, that this is the remittance bank. Even this is coming from that setup. I'll take a snapshot of this and I'll copy it in this WordPad. We'll verify them with the setups later once we go there. Yeah. So now let us switch to the setup from where these are coming from, right? Let me save the receipt, save and close. I'm copying the receipt number here for reference. Now I'm going back to the instance to see the receipt method and the corresponding setup. Navigate to the instance, click on setup and maintenance. We are in financial functional area. Manage receipt class and methods. Manage receipt classes and methods. Here the receipt method, that is what we should give. It's check, no direct, no cash. Let me search. Check directly, no remit. This is the one we are using in our receipt. From this, if you see here, for our business unit is UAE. This is the business unit we are using, right? For this business unit, the remittance bank account is UAE PSFAB. Let us check if this bank account is getting defaulted in the receipt when we use receipt method as check directly, no remit. We have used this in our receipt. Let us verify if this is the bank account that got defaulted in our receipt. So let me take a, I'll copy it in the WordPad so that we can compare easily. It is UAE PSFAB, and in our case its account is remittance bank account in a receipt 3007 is UAE PSFAB. So that is how the remittance bank account is getting defaulted from receipt class. And next we want to verify if the accounts are coming correctly from there. So I'm going back to the instance and select this bank account and click on edit. If you see here, we are having all the accounts here: cash account, unidentified receipts, on account receipts, unapplied receipts, right? All the accounts are available here. So we we'll take a copy of this and we'll verify if these are matching with what we got in the receipt accounting. Yeah. So unidentified cash, it's 31711. Sorry, it's 31211. It's very, let me expand it. Yeah, it's 31211119991. Yeah, they are matching. Unidentified cash is matching. Even if you see cash, it is ending with 001 and the account is 001. On account receipt, it's ending with 992. Cash on account, it's 992, right? And similarly, unapplied receipts, we don't have unapplied receipts because we applied all the amount over here. Yeah, so these accounts that are coming in the receipt are matching with the accounts that are defined at remittance bank account level. So we didn't discuss about one point here. If you see, let me go back to the sheet. I said this point we are not discussing. We'll come back to that later. So let us discuss about this point. Here, the receipt class will have a let me go back to the instance so that it will be clear. Yeah, here receipt class will have remittance method. Its value can be no remittance or remittance, right? So, and like clearance method also directly. If it is clearance method is directly, right? We only cash account will be used when receipt is created for debiting. If it is remittance, then we have a remittance account here. If you scroll down, no, let me go back to the screenshot. Here, remittance account is not available here. It got has uh, clearance method is direct. If it is remittance, right, this is mandatory and they should enter the remittance account here. And when we create a receipt, it won't debit the cash account. It it debits the remitted cash account. That I'm not showing in this demo, but that's how it works. Instead of cash account, remitted cash account will be debited if clearance method is remittance. And yeah, that is what I want to show this one. Yeah, that's it. I have covered these scenarios. Yeah, thank you.